Andrew Wiggins was sharp himself with 28 points, and hey, even the Rook looked polished. But of course, as always with Golden State these days, the story of the night was Steph Curry. After the final buzzer, he got a cool moment with his son Cannon, which, I mean, you can't watch these two together and not think of the old pictures of Steph with his dad Dell on the bench, right? So cool. Still, as you watch Steph celebrate, you also couldn't help but think of what him turning 33 years old means for this Warriors team. Right now, they sit at 9th in the West. And while on nights like last night, they look like they could be a thorn in the side of the conference's contenders, for nearly the 3 weeks before last night, the Warriors didn't win a single game and look like, well, that what they are more than anything, a team holding pattern, waiting for one of their stars to come back from injury. And speaking of Klay Thompson, he actually addressed the media yesterday for the first time all year. And as usual, he didn't hold back about what it's been like for him.
2020 was just such a year of reckoning, not only for the pandemic, but for the social justice. I mean, we lost so many innocent people to violence. It was awful. Kobe going out and Gigi. And then on top of that, in the fall, I tear my Achilles. It was just probably the worst year of my life, guys. Lost my grandmother. That was it for me, was losing my grandma Mary, tear my Achilles, and I mean, I still think about Kobe every single day. There's not a day I don't think about him, and not being able to have that last convo with him, and just, it was a tough year, guys.
Klay said he's been getting advice from old teammate Kevin Durant, who went through Achilles rehab himself last year, and also from Hall of Famer Grant Hill. He said he hopes he can be back for the very start of next season, certainly close to it, although he cautioned he'll be on a minutes restriction then, and do not expect him to immediately be his old self. Still, his expectations are high. He called James Wiseman a future perennial all-star, and as for the whole team, well, take a listen to this, too.
Well, I anticipate us being right back in contention for a championship again. This year has been tough, obviously, with the pandemic and, you know, so many new players on the team. And I love our group, though. I think we have a great group. These guys come to work every day. They're eager to be great players. And we still have so much basketball left to play.
Klay is hardly alone with that assessment. Steph has also said he expects the Warriors to be right back in title contention next year. But both know the Splash Brothers, just being back on the court together, that's likely not enough in a league where cities like Los Angeles, Brooklyn, they have loaded up on superstars. So how does Golden State make sure it has the right players around Steph and Klay? Do the Warriors continue to integrate guys like Wiggins, Kelly Oubre, continue to develop James Wiseman, and use their upcoming draft picks to set themselves up for the future? The team will not only have its own pick this year, so long as it lands in the top 20, but Minnesota's as well, as long as the Wolves pick doesn't fall inside a top 3 protection. Or should the Warriors use a chunk of those assets to make a trade that would give the team a legit additional star who is more in the Steph, Klay, Draymond timeline? Warriors Twitter has a very clear opinion on that one. Half the discussions I see between fans are about not wasting the rest of Steph's prime. There's also some increasing nail-biting over Steph's contract, which currently only runs to the end of next season. Curry actually could have signed an extension this past offseason, but opted not to, in part because he can sign a longer, richer deal if he waits until this coming offseason. So him waiting, it makes sense, but it hasn't stopped even GM Bob Myers from occasionally having what Myers called, quote, paranoid fears that Steph won't stay. Perhaps that's why Myers has also said he plans to be, quote, aggressive as the trade deadline approaches. But as with all general managers at this time of year, it's impossible to know exactly what is real and what is smoke. Here's what we do know for sure. Steph Curry is now officially 33 years old, and hot pink shoes aside, the Warriors have some decisions to make. So, Paul, the Warriors have a number of options here. Yeah. What do you think they should do as the deadline approaches?
I think it's best for them to stand pat. I mean, there's not a trade out there that they can make that's going to put them in contention, because for that to happen, you're going to need somebody that's either just as good as Steph or better for you to say this Warriors team is a championship contender. And so you stand pat, you wait for Klay to come back, you reevaluate your assets and see what you can do going into next year. And they have some pretty good assets out there.
Yeah.
Pete, I have to disagree. The first thing that Golden State should do is let is free James Wiseman. They should not let him go anywhere, okay? Second of all, with Steph not signing the extension, I think that they should be aggressive in this trade, upseason trade decision, meaning going out there maybe trading to Andrew Wiggins and getting back a Victor Oladipo to show Steph that we are going to surround you with help and we are going to get better, not for just this year, but for next year, so that he can sign his contract this offseason and you can lock Steph in. Because with Steph not signing his contract extension, yes, I get it. He's going to get more money, but there's no guarantee. And we saw all the joy, we saw the laughter in the All-Star game between him and LeBron James, chest bumping and high-fiving. Hey, look, I'm telling you, right now I don't put nothing past anyone in the NBA. I'm just saying, Pete, I don't put nothing past anything could happen when it comes down to the NBA.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised either.
Really? Come on, both of you. I do not see Steph Curry joining up with LeBron and Lakers. That does not feel like a real fear to me. But what do you think, Paul, about Oubre? What do you think about Wiggins? And if you stand pat on the draft picks, they turn into real people. So all of a sudden, people are evaluating when they evaluate your assets before next year's trade deadline, for example. Then it's, do they like the picks you made with those picks? When they're picks, they're a little bit more to the imagination.
I mean, this is the thing. You got to evaluate. Everything that they're going through has to be surrounded around Steph. We have a window because we have a superstar player, a generational player. And so, you know, you can't make these moves unless it's going to vault you up there and so say, all right, we can play with the Lakers, we can play with the Clippers, but then if you make these type of moves by trading, like Perk said, for Oladipo, does that really make you better? Does that really say, ooh, the Warriors are a threat? No, it doesn't. It just puts you in the same position you were in yesterday. And so if there's not a trade out there, you wait till Klay comes back next year and you see what's out there on the open market for trade bait or free agency and see what you can create with your draft picks and go from there. Listen, their window is closed. I'm sorry, because there isn't a trade out there. It's not going to happen. And as these other teams get better across the league, Phoenix,
so you don't think
Utah,
Steph Curry's going to win another title?
I think it's a strong possibility that they can't win another title because they need another player that's not available and won't be available.
Yeah, but P, you mean to tell me if you next year, if you coming into the season and your starting five is Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Victor Oladipo, Draymond Green, and James Wiseman, you telling me that that's not a team that could contend for a title or possibly win the championship in the NBA?
No, I don't think that's a team that can win a title. And they're going to be good for TV, and they'll always be good for TV as long as Steph is there, Draymond, Klay. But that's not a title contending team when you're talking about going against the teams like the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Lakers, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and the up-and-coming Utah Jazz, the Phoenix Suns. That team right there is not a contending team, Perk.
Yeah, but Paul, listen here, True. We don't know if Kawhi's going to be a Clipper next year. He didn't sign a contract extension. So right now, he's weighing his options. And I think that the Clippers have to deliver a championship in order for Kawhi to sign back. Did you see his comments last night? He said that we're playing inconsistent.
We will talk
about
those.
Consistent basketball. They need a point guard. So with LeBron James getting older, which I think he still could play at the age of 46. But what I'm saying is the greatest shooting backcourt of all time, a guy, Draymond Green and James Wiseman, who is going to be better next year than James Wiseman, and you add a piece like Oladipo to that squad, they're going to be a favorite to win the title.
No, a favorite? Come on, man. What's in that cup you sipping on, man? Hey, come on, a favorite?
I'm not even getting in the middle of this. I will point out that Oladipo,
Phoenix got more of a chance.
I don't know what am I make or missing? It's a make or miss league. Cut that.
Miss Precision, Celtics blowing out the Rockets midway through the fourth, and watch the cross-court pass just a bit outside. Paul, how does this happen?
When you lose James Harden, this is what happens. A generational talent, this is what seems to happen to your franchise.
You know what? I just feel so sorry for Coach Stephen Silas. His first year coaching, and I mean, this is what he have to deal with. A lot of guys on 10-day contracts. a lot of guys on vet minimum trying to fight for a job, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Although it's not like management's going to hold him responsible for all of this. It's rough. It's rough right now over in Houston. Make sharing is caring. Speaking of James Harden, little ISO ball, and then give and go with him and DJ. I don't know how you guard this, Perk. Take a look.
Ooh.
You can't guard it, Rachel. You can't guard it. See, that's the thing. You know what? People don't give James Harden enough credit. This is the James Harden in the Oklahoma City days with him and Nick Collison. Although Nick Collison wasn't catching lobs, but James Harden is a hell of a cutter back door. Nick Collison was laying it up, but now you got that lob threat in DeAndre Jordan. That's good basketball right there.
Listen, with Joel Embiid going out, James Harden is my front runner for MVP right now.
Ooh.
You have no argument from me.
We're gonna have that discussion a little bit later in the show. I will say the way James has been able to amplify Jordan since he got there has been pretty awesome. Watching DeAndre and him play together has been so cool. All right, Miss Decaf. No Bam, so Jimmy Butler taking the opening tip. They do have to redo the first one. Jimmy hypes himself up and then wins it. He won it. He's very happy. Is that Big Face Coffee that he was able to overcome that height difference there?
Big Face Coffee stock is going through the roof like Bitcoin, baby.
Non-fungible coffee? I don't know if that exists.
This is why you gotta love Jimmy Buckets, though, Rachel. His mentality.
Right?
He knew he was winning this jump ball. That's a mindset.
He's going there. Make the youth. Anthony Edwards dropping a career-high 34 against the Blazers. Perk, is he starting to put the league on a little notice here?
He's been putting the league on notice. To me, this kid reminds me a lot of Russell Westbrook. Has Russell Westbrook athleticism, but he is relentless. He is fearless. He is a bucket getter, and the sky's the limit for him. He is going to be a problem in the near future. I can tell you that.
Yeah, you can tell he's starting to get a better understanding of the speed and athleticism of the NBA game. And, the last few weeks, he's been posterizing people.
Yeah. Look at that dunk a couple weeks ago. Oh, my Lord. And, look, people want to redraft this draft already. Not so fast. These guys have to develop. Although, LaMelo, speaking of LaMelo, let's get to Miss Dizziness because Death Taxes and LaMelo Ball featured in Make Miss. That you can count on. Check out the spin and the swish. Paul, I don't know what more we can say about this kid. He's clearly the rookie of the year.
Yeah, he's going to be the rookie of the year, and people are going to be like, why he didn't go number one? He just didn't fit into what Minnesota plans were. They have a point guard, and so he's going to be the number 2 pick. He was the number 2 pick, and he's going to be rookie of the year, and both teams are going to benefit from their picks.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to take it a step further. A while back, I said that if I had to take a player to be the future face of the NBA, it would be Joel Embiid. No, it would be LaMelo Ball. He has the swag, he has the drip, and he also has the game. And by the way, the Hornets are sitting, I believe, in the 4th spot in the Eastern Conference. He plays winning basketball along with everything else he brings.
Let me ask you, Perkins, Big Baller Brand back? Big Baller Brand back?
Not even LaMelo Ball would say that. All right, make freebies. Clips Pelicans. Reggie Jackson tries to take a charge.
Oh, my goodness.
Instead of getting rewarded, he gets posterized by Jackson Hayes. Now, Hayes got teed up, but Perk, it was worth it, right?
Yeah, it was worth it. But see, here's the thing. The referees get caught up in the highlights because that was a charge. If he would have laid the ball up, they would have called that a charge. But because he went up and snatched the screws out, they didn't want to mess up the highlight. But that was a charge.
Well, they called him for the taunting right away.
Look, you can't do anything. You can't get excited for putting a poster on. You can't. What do you do? I mean, I've seen a guy do like this, get a technical. I see a guy do. Man, what?
Yeah, but
the
you
fans
don't get
love
credit
that. That's for the fans right there.
7-footer. You don't get credit as a 7-footer dunking on a point guard. I'm sorry.
Hey, I'm sorry. We gave DeAndre Jordan credit for dunking on Brandon Knight.
Yeah, but
we still play that. We still play that highlight.
But that was different. That was different, Paul. That was different. That was a different type of dunk on, okay? That was something we never seen before.
I want to stick with Clippers Pelicans, guys. You mentioned it before the break. Kendrick, New Orleans won by 20 after the game. Kawhi Leonard, Ty Lue, not pleased. Take a listen to what they had to say.
Very concerning. Want to have a chance at anything, you got to be consistent. That's what the great teams do. They're consistent. You know, they have their nights when, you know, the energy's not there. But, you know, it's all about consistency from a team to players to coaches. You know, that's what makes a team great, players great, coaches great. The consistency of being, you know, wanting to win and doing you know, pretty much the same habits of winning.
Teams are going at us, and we got to put up more resistance, you know, and that's from everyone. And until we do that, you're going to have games like this. So, I mean, I'm not discouraged because, you know, we've shown that we can do and we can play at a high level, but we got to do it every single night. You know, we can't just keep talking about it. We got to do it.
All right, so Paul, you heard different things there. Kawhi says he does have a level of concern. Ty Lue, not as much. What is your level of concern, Paul, for the Clippers right now?
You know, I watched this game last night, and I don't really have concerns because when you watch the Pelicans and their DNA, their makeup, you know, they're strong on the inside. When you miss Serge Ibaka, when you miss Patrick Beverley, two all defensive players, two starters. Yeah. You're going to struggle at times. And this is a young, pretty good Pelican team who has aspirations of possibly making the playoffs. And so, you know, I'll be concerned if I'm fully healthy and this type of blowout happens. But when you miss two starters on the road against two of your premier defenders, it's going to be tough to try to get a win anyway.
Yeah, but Pete, this didn't just start last night. The Clippers have been playing pretty terrible over the last month, even before the All-Star break. And what I'm looking at is, Paul George, you have to be careful what you ask for. You wanted the ball more in your hands to be a playmaker instead of just being that elite scorer and that wing defender. And I'm looking at him and Kawhi down the stretch, and they don't have their legs because they have to do so much. They have to run the offense. They got the ball in their hands. This is why I was lobbying in the offseason for the Clippers to sign Rajon Rondo. They need a point guard. They need a floor general. They need a guy that's going to take the load off of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George so that they could go down and set up. You don't need Kawhi Leonard dribbling the ball up the floor and having to dribble to his spots to get to the elbows to be able to go into his offensive package. You know what Rondo did for you, Pete.
Absolutely.
You was able to run down, get set up, you do your slice cut to the mid-post area. Rondo fed you the ball, and you was able to go to work.
We're going to call it NBA bracketology. We were going to call it perkatology, just because that has a nice ring to it, but then we didn't know whether we should really.
Perk didn't even go to college. He went straight to the pro.
That we figured we would, lean a little bit more on the guy who actually played in the tournament. Here are the current Eastern Conference standings, which dictate playoff seeding in the association. But let's pretend like it's college hoops for the sake of this segment, Perk. How would you seed the East 1 through 6? Let's start there.
Well, 1 through 6, the 6 teams that are getting in for sure. 1, the Philadelphia 76ers. Ooh. 2, the Milwaukee Bucks. 3, the Brooklyn Nets. 4, the Boston Celtics. 5, the Miami Heat, them goons from Dade County. And 6, the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks are on a 5-game winning streak and playing this fine basketball under Coach Nate McMillan. They are getting in. That's my 6 right there that's getting in.
Oh, my gosh. That was a bad list right there.
What you mean?
Paul, who do you
Number
have?
1 seed, the Brooklyn Nets, please. The Brooklyn Nets. You must have forgot what James Harden's been doing over there. Number 2, the Sixers. And now they may drop now that Embiid is out. And you know who else has been on fire? The Heat. I got them number 3.
Ooh.
Can't count out the 2-time MVP, Giannis with the Bucks. The Celtics, number 5, and number 6, Perk. I got the Knicks. Tom Thibodeau has changed the culture over there to where they're a defensive juggernaut led by their all-star, Julius Randle.
You know what? You know what, Paul? This is what I got a problem with your list about, okay? Mm-hmm. Just about 2 months ago or a month ago, on the jump, you said that the Miami Heat, they ain't gonna make the playoffs. Now you jumped them all the way to number 3.
Hold on. Check this out, though. We can go back to that whole show, and I said, listen, the Miami Heat I don't think they're gonna make the playoff unless Jimmy Butler comes back and do Jimmy Butler things. And what have we been seeing? Jimmy Butler doing Jimmy Butler things. That's exactly what I said. So all you fans talking about, I said Miami not gonna make the playoffs. I said unless Jimmy Butler come back and be the Jimmy Butler we saw in the finals.
My list look more accurate than yours, okay? And we can bet, and we can talk about a bet on the side.
Oh yeah, you know we got side.
I know.
Bet,
I was going to say,
side
I
bet Willie all
know
day.
that's coming. All right, let's talk about the next sort of NBA version of the bubble. That's the play-in rounds that are going to have 7th through 10th place teams fighting it out for those final playoff spots. So, Perk, how would you seed now going up all the way to 10 in the East, and which team is the first one out for you?
Ooh, so I have the Hornets at number 7 because they are playing well, led by the superstar LaMelo Ball. I have the Pacers at number 8. I have the Raptors at number 9, and I have the Knicks at number 10. First team out is the Wizards. The Wizards won't make it, okay? And then out of this play-in tournament, is going to be the Raptors and the Knicks that are going to make it to the play-in tournament.
Okay. What do you got, Paul?
Not bad, but how you got the Knicks so low? They one of the best defensive teams. Coach Tibb, you hate Tibb, man? What's going on, man?
Yeah, but Pete, I don't have them finishing top 6. That's all. That don't mean that they finish 7.
All right, my 7 in the East, Charlotte Hornets. And I hope they make it. They're an exciting team.
So much fun, right?
Pacers, number 8. I got the Bulls, number 9. Zach LaVine has convinced me he's an all-star this year. And then number 10, I got the Hawks. For some reason, they seem re-energized by the coaching change. And, you know, I really like that young squad. Going into the season, I thought they would make the playoffs, and it's good to see them get back in the playoff race.
All right, so that's you guys' groups for the East, but I want to head out west. Here's a look again at the standings. So this is officially how they're chipping out right now. But, Perk, who do you seed 1 through 6 in the West? How would you do it if you were the selection committee?
So at the number 1 spot, I got the Utah Jazz. The number 2, I got the Phoenix Suns. Well, I got the Lakers. The Lakers are number 1. The Suns are number 2. The Clippers are number 3. The Nuggets are number 4. The Jazz are number 5. And the Mavericks are number 6. Listen, I did my list pregame, right? Okay, I didn't do it to say where they was going to finish in the standings. I just gave you my top
Your seeds.
6.
No, it's your seeds.
Yeah.
Right, in no particular order.
Well, they're seeds. They should be in some order. Paul, how are your seeds? What order
All
are
right,
your seeds?
not a bad list, but mine's is a little bit different, Perk. At the top, I definitely got the Lakers, the defending champs. Number 2, I got the Clippers. Number 3, I got the Blazers. I gotta give Dame his flowers, and I trust them more
Nurk's coming
as
back.
a higher seed than these other
TJ's
teams.
gonna
Number
come.
4, I got the Nuggets. Joker's playing his way into MVP candidacy for me. Number 5, I got the Jazz. Number 6, I got the Suns. And the reason for that order is these are the teams I trust ahead of these other teams in the playoffs. Now, the Jazz and Suns have better records than all these guys, but I trust these teams more come playoff time.
All right. Well, let's talk about seeds 7 through 10. Your bubble teams out west. Perk, who you got?
So my bubble teams, I have the Portland Trail Blazers at number 7. The reason I have them at number 7, I don't know when CJ McCollum is going to return or Big Nurkic. I would have them higher. The 8th seed, I got the Golden State Warriors. 9th seed, I got John Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. And at the 10th spot, I got Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans. First team out for me is the San Antonio Spurs.
What about you, Paul?
See, people continue to disrespect Popovich in his post-Duncan Ginobili, Kawhi Leonard era, and he continues to thrive. And so for me, number 7, I got the Mavericks. Luka Doncic alone should be able to push them into the playoffs. Number 8, I got the Warriors. If they stay healthy, if Steph stays healthy, they should get in. Number 9 for the play-in, I got the Spurs, because I'm never going to doubt a Coach Popovich team. And Pelicans, Zion Williams, Ingram, the way Ball is playing, that's enough for me. I like these guys for the play-in tournament. It should be exciting down the stretch, and any of these teams, I feel like can be there.
Look, the play-in tournament is going to make this second half of the season so fascinating. I can't wait to see how it all pans out. I can't also wait for the next segment because coming up, our NBA draft guru, Mike Schmitz, is going to join us. He'll discuss the top prospects playing in the NCAA tourney, basically accosted by Madison Square Garden security despite his jersey hanging in the rafters. Paul, this would never happen to you in Boston. I was so happy about Georgetown winning this weekend, but the disrespect to Patrick Ewing cannot stand.
I mean, we all know why. I mean, things that's known need not be said. We know who owns this place. We know what goes on to the former players. And so it's not surprising to me, Rachel.
No, it need to be said. No, it need to be said. Show the legend some respect. A guy that helped build the bricks around there. His jersey is hanging up in the rafters. Rachel, I'm no near on Paul Pierce level or Patrick Ewing level, but when I return to the Garden, I'm walking in the same entrance as Wick Grossbeck.
NBA draft guru, Mike Schmitz. Thank you so much for being back with us, Mike. I want to learn just more about all of the prospects playing this March, but let's start here. Which prospect to you is the most exciting for NBA fans?
It's Cade Cunningham. Listen, if you like step back threes, 6'8" point guards, 40-point games, game winner after game winner, he's your guy. He's the Luka Doncic of college basketball. When you talk about his positional size, his ability to get to his spots, he can score it at all three levels. He makes everyone around him better. And I went out to Stillwater to spend some time with him, and I was blown away at his mentality. I thought I was talking to an NBA veteran. He has this unshakable confidence about him. And experts didn't even think that this team would be in the NCAA tournament. And here they are doing as well as they have. So I love Evan Mobley. He's the next unicorn big. I love Jalen Suggs, his energy, his defensive intensity. But I'm going with Cade Cunningham, the projected #1 pick.
Oh, he is going #1, and I'm going to double down on that. I talked to my good friend Rashard Phillips, and he said his game mimics Grant Hill. I watched him throughout conference, and he's on point. This kid is a future star in the making. He could attack the basket, high IQ, very mature. He's strong. He could get buckets from the three-point line. He got great mid-range, great handle, and he's so mature. He is a grown man. He will be the #1 pick.
You guys are comparing him to Grant Hill and Luka Doncic. That is heady stuff.
Yeah.
So, Paul, what is it like to be, say, Cade Cunningham? What is it like to be hooping in the tourney, knowing every scout is watching you and your draft stock rests on how you do?
Well, it's an exciting time of the year because so much of your fortune depends sometimes on the tournament. Not in his case, though. But, you know, this is a time where no matter what you've done during the regular season, when you come out in the tournament and you play well, everybody forgets that. And it's the big stage. I've seen guys that probably wasn't in the first round go first round because they had great tournament success. And so this is what every player's dream is, to come in the tournament under the big lights. All the scouts are there, all the coaches, all eyes are watching. So this is your chance. If you haven't made for your name for yourself by now, here's your chance.
Right.
And that's what the tournament is all about.
I love seeing that old Paul Kansas video. I can't get enough of that. So, Mike, who do you think the prospect is? Who will be most affected by the tournament? Who do you think might make the biggest jump in the mock drafts this March from his tourney performance?
It's Herbert Jones from Alabama. I was just in Nashville at the SEC tournament, and he was the best player all 3 days, and he's one of the most versatile prospects in this entire draft. He's 6'8", 7'1" wingspan. He defends all 5 positions for them, and they're the second best defense in the entire country. And then he'll bring the ball up offensively. He plays point guard. He makes everyone around him better. He needs to improve as a perimeter shooter, but we have him as a projected second-round pick right now. And if he leads Alabama to the Final Four, I think you're going to start to see his name creep up draft boards just because of his winning impact and his versatility.
All right, so Mike, which team has the most NBA caliber prospects on its roster?
It's Gonzaga. They have 2 projected top 10 picks. When you look at Jalen Suggs, a projected top 5 pick, and then Corey Kispert as well, who we have at number 10. With Suggs, I look at a Drew Holiday type of toughness in him, a guy who loves to defend, who plays with incredible energy. He's explosive in the open court. He's a big-time shot maker. We saw him against BYU in the WCC final. He's not afraid of the moment. And then Corey Kispert has a little bit of Joe Harris to him, a guy 6'7", great positional size. He's tough, shooting 44% from 3, made 9 threes in a game earlier this year. And then they have some long-term prospects as well. So Gonzaga has the most prospect-laden team in this tournament.
All right, Mike, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we let you go, Gonzaga or the field? What you going with?
It's the Zags, much to the joy of
Well,
our
if
guy
Kansas
Neil
is in the
Everett.
field, I gotta go with the field.
Hey, P, I feel sorry for your loss because I'm going with Gonzaga.
There we go.
Kansas is in the field. I'm going with the field.
Coming up
Yeah,
next, might be
okay,
just
cool.
a tad bit biased there. What does Joel Embiid's injury mean for the Sixers, his MVP chances? We will discuss that next. First, though, here's our distant replay, this date 2009. Check out The Matrix.
Bargnani, numbers for the Raptors. Granger gets back.